I get in the car with my best friend. He's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, I'm sorry, Julio, but I gotta show you something. I'm like, what you mean you gotta show me something? He showed me naked pictures of Ashley like this.
Oh. Really?
Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, Your Honor, she got me. You know, you don't have to worry about that. So I'm a man, I'm gonna step up and do what I gotta do. My job is to protect you and to love you, to show you how a man's supposed to treat you, you know.
This case is already messy right from the start. Ms. Rogers says Mr. Stone got her pregnant, but he's dodging responsibility. He says it was just a fling and that she was with other guys. Things are already heating up.
You say after an encounter with your elementary school sweetheart, you ended up pregnant. Has gone through great lengths to deny he is the father of your son, Christian. You say Ms. Rogers is promiscuous and it was only a casual fling. You say she has even slept with some of your friends and therefore it is impossible you are the father of her baby.
Ms. Rogers runs into her childhood crush, and somehow they go from long time no see to having intimate violence twice in one day. Their fling lasted about a month before she found out he had a girlfriend. Just when you think that's the big drama, nope, it gets worse.
I was at my friend's house, or I was at her boyfriend's house, and we were chilling, and he walked through the door, and I'm like, really? We was talking, laughing. We went back to my friend's house with her boyfriend, and we had sex that day. We left her house and went back to his house and had sex again a couple times. And after that, it's just like, we would hang out, have sex.
And then, boom, Mr. Stone drops a bomb. Their unprotected night together was during a threesome. The judge mishears and thinks he said freezer, making things even funnier. The audience is already losing it, and we're only getting started.
Did you have unprotected sex
One time,
with
Your
Ms.
Honor.
Stone?
It was not one time.
And that was in the threesome.
It was not. It was
In
not
the
one time.
where?
And the threesome between me, her, and...
We had a threesome. The night I found out that he had a girlfriend, we had a threesome.
Jerome, at first I thought he said in the freezer.
Ms. Rogers finds out she's pregnant while getting a birth control shot. Talk about bad timing. She's scared because she's 18 with twins and just got into college. Mr. Stone, however, swears she never even told him.
I went to the doctor to get my birth control shot because I know I'm having sex, so I'm like, I need to go because I don't want to have no more kids.
Anymore?
I have twins.
18 years old with 3 children?
Yes. I didn't want no more kids because I had just got accepted to college. Things was looking up, so I was like, I wanted to like put the cap on before anything happened, not knowing that I was already pregnant. So it was like, I was scared.
Ms. Rogers says Mr. Stone was right there for the ultrasound and even roasted the baby's big head. Mr. Stone says he never saw it and only got a picture through a text. Someone here is clearly lying and the audience knows it.
Yeah, I wasn't driving. I was in a passenger seat. My friend came to me, we were chilling, talking, and then he said he had to go pick them up and drop them off.
He saw the ultrasound pictures when I came out the hospital. He looked at them. He held them in his hand and looked at them.
No, I did not.
Picture of my ultrasound. It said, you're having a boy. I didn't find out I was pregnant until I was 4 months pregnant. I give him that. I'm in the car with my friend. They had been over my house. They was like, I said, can you take me to my ultrasound? She said, okay.
Now we've reached the math part of the drama. Ms. Rogers says the doctor confirmed the baby was conceived in November, which lines up with their fling. Mr. Stone, though, is looking at the timeline like it's an impossible puzzle.
The lady said that I got pregnant during the beginning of November.
No, Your Honor, we were intimate between the 17th and the 22nd. My birthday is the 24th. It was the week before my birthday.
We had been having sex for almost a month. We started having sex at the end of October towards the end of November.
It was the beginning, like the mid-November.
Ms. Rogers pulls out text message receipts where Mr. Stone calls the baby my baby. Now he's backpedaling, saying he got attached but still isn't sure. At this point, everyone is just waiting for that DNA test.
This is the first time he's saying this. Let me tell you something. When me and him talk, this is his baby. This is
Really?
baby. He says my baby. He does not say the baby. He says my baby.
Text messages. The messages say, from Mr. Stone, what are you doing? And you say, sitting here. And Mr. Stone says, oh, okay, I miss Nugget. You write, okay. And then you write back, Mr. Stone, when can I have my baby?
And then, boom, plot twist.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Stone, you are not the father.
This situation was wild from the start. Phelan Hannon thought Kimball was her dad until at 13, he hit her with, I am not your father. Years later, on her mom's deathbed, she found out her real dad was David Dorsey. Now, she had to track down a man she had never met.
Miss Hannon, you grew up believing one man was your father until the age of 13 when he said, I am not your daddy. Your mother then told you on her deathbed that another man, the defendant David Dorsey, is your biological father. You are here to prove paternity.
When Phelan was little, she asked Kimball to take her to a daddy-daughter dance. Instead of just going, he told her, "I'm not your dad. Good luck." That's a next-level RSVP rejection. Just when it seemed bad, things got even messier.
Well, I believe David Dorsey is my biological father, but I grew up with my grandparents and my mom. Like you said, I was known for a man named Kimball to be my dad. I called him one day, the daddy-daughter dance. Instead of his response being, "Yes, I'll be there," it was, "Your mother's still lying to you, not your dad. You need to go find your real dad."
How cruel.
Before passing, Phelan's mom finally admitted she had guessed wrong. David Dorsey was her actual dad. So now, on top of grieving, Phelan had to track down a stranger and hope he didn't reject her too. Buckle up, this ride was far from over.
My mom, we would have our heart-to-heart because she was sick my whole entire life. You know, she would be talking about Kimball, she would talk about David. On her deathbed, she told me, "I thought I picked the right one for you, but David's your father."
So just before your mother passed, she says to you, "I thought I picked the right one for you, but David Dorsey is really your biological father."
Yes, ma'am.
Wow.
Denial. Imagine telling someone, "Hey, you might be my dad," and they reply, "I don't even know your mom." David stood there, denying everything, while the audience gasped like they were watching a soap opera. But the receipts were coming.
You don't believe you're her biological father?
No, Your Honor.
Why?
Because I don't remember her mother at all.
You don't remember her mother.
I don't know her mother.
So you are standing here at the defendant's podium in this courtroom today saying you know you cannot be Miss Hannon's biological father because you have never met her mother.
No, I haven't, Your Honor.
David thought he could deny it all until Phelan's godmother stepped in. She said, "Oh no, sir, I remember you." She recalled David bringing Phelan's mom lunch at work. Suddenly, he wasn't looking so sure of himself.
Me and Fallon's mother, Veronica, we worked together. Mr. Dorsey, I have seen him come to the job to bring her mom lunch. Her mom would talk about her baby daddy being David.
Your Honor.
You don't remember any of
Your
this?
Honor, I've never had sex with this woman.
David claimed he didn't know Phelan's mom, but then it turned out he had a different last name, David Watkins. That was the name Phelan had heard her whole life. Either this was a wild coincidence or someone's memory was off.
Because I remember her mom talking about a David. That's your dad.
Oh wait,
But it
this
was
is David
Watkins.
Dorsey. You said David Watkins.
It was a David
My name used to be David Watkins. I was adopted, and he changed my name to Watkins, and then when I got grown, I changed my name back to my dad's name.
So what are you thinking? You thinking this woman just made this up?
Your Honor, I don't know this woman.
David's daughter, Melody, walked in and was like, "Dad, stop playing." She hugged Phelan and said, "That's my sister." If David wouldn't claim Phelan, Melody was going to do it for him.
I love you too. That's my sister. You know, I don't mean to disrespect my dad, but my dad was a Rolling Stone, okay? So he was the man, and like, he was very known on the North Side for being David Watkins, you know, the Slayer.
Melody revealed that people had always said Phelan looked just like her. She even saw Phelan's picture and thought, "That's literally me." Meanwhile, David was still like, "I don't know, I don't remember. Sir, do you need glasses?"
There's this girl that looks like you. She looks so much like you. Can you please just get in contact with this girl, please, because you look so much like her. Went onto Facebook, you know, and I looked up her name. When I seen her face, I was like, if that's not me, maybe about a good 50 pounds ago, I mean.
Even David started questioning himself. He admitted Phelan looked like him and his daughter, but stuck to his "I don't remember" story. No worries, the DNA test was about to settle this.
I feel sorry for her.
Is there any part of you that says, if she is my daughter, I've missed out on 30 years of this woman's life, this young woman, this beautiful, smart young woman, I've missed out on her life?
Yeah, I'm torn that way too, though. I feel one kind of way, but then I feel bad if I missed out on her life, if I am her father.
Judge Lake opened the envelope and the room went silent. The result?
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Dorsey, you are not the father.
This case is already a mess before it even starts. Miss Lockridge is 100% sure Mr. Tidwell is the father of her 10-month-old son, King, so she dragged him to court to prove it. Meanwhile, Mr. Tidwell looks lost, claiming they weren't in a real relationship and saying someone else must be the dad. Buckle up, this is just the beginning.
Ms. Lockridge, you've dragged the defendant, Mr. Tidwell, to court because he has refused to acknowledge your 10-month-old son, King. You are 100% sure he's the father and claim today's results will prove your case. You say you were never in a serious relationship with Ms. Lockridge, and you were stunned when she told you she was pregnant.
Dispute. If confusion was a sport, these two would be gold medalists. Miss Lockridge says Mr. Tidwell has been a total ghost. No diapers, no clothes, no visits. She's taken long trips just for him to see the baby, and he still barely tries. Mr. Tidwell swears they were just hooking up and calls her obsessed. Oh, buddy, you have no idea what's coming.
Your Honor, Mr. Tidwell does not have a relationship with my son. The only time he's actually seen my son is when I've made it a convenience for him and brought him to him. That means traveling 4 hours on bus. He hasn't helped with diapers. He barely helped with any clothes, and it hurt. It's frustrating. He named my son King, and how am I supposed to raise a king, and he's not there?
You named him King, Mr. Tidwell?
Yes, Your Honor.
Reveal Imagine a sticky note, but instead of a reminder, it's an ultrasound photo. Miss Lockridge says she left a note and picture on his bed because his brother was there. Mr. Tidwell claims he was blindsided and only found out later through a text. That's one way to break the news, but wait until they discuss conception.
She came over to my house. We hung out. The next day, I see a piece of paper on my bed. I grab it. I looked at it. It was a note with an ultrasound in it. I'm not sure the exact words of the note, but it said that she didn't know how to tell me this, and she's sorry she had to tell me like that. So I called her. She didn't answer the phone. She ended up leaving me a text message saying that she was sorry and that she didn't know how to tell me that she was pregnant.
This pregnancy talk is next level awkward. Miss Lockridge says she mentioned having her period a week before, but Mr. Tidwell told her to shut up and carried on. Yes, that's a direct quote. The courtroom's collective jaw dropped. Mr. Tidwell calls it a total lie, shaking his head like he just heard the wildest thing ever.
When we conceived my child, I told him I just had my period a week ago.
That's a lie, Your Honor.
He said, shut up, and we kept going at it.
Oh,
That's
wow.
a lie, Your Honor.
You thought that he wanted or didn't mind if he got you pregnant.
I mean, he just got another girl pregnant 4 months prior, and I asked him, what you gonna do about it? He said, if it's mine, then I'm gonna take care of it. So next time I come over, heck yeah, I'm excited.
This is the part where the audience starts shaking their heads. Miss Lockridge kept him updated on doctor's appointments and even sent baby heartbeat recordings. He still didn't show up. She went through 36 hours of labor alone, and a nurse had to get special permission to stay with her. And just when you think he looks bad, it gets worse.
He didn't care about, I texted him when I was every doctor's appointment. I even sent him voice recordings of the heartbeat, all that. Like, when I had my son, I was in labor for 36 hours completely by myself, to the point where the nurse that was with me, she had to call the doctor and ask the doctor if she could stay with me because I was by myself.
This is like a game of telephone gone wrong. Mr. Tidwell's mom says Miss Lockridge ditched the baby on them for 2 weeks. Miss Lockridge says she asked them to watch him while she worked. Mr. Tidwell swears she disappeared and later returned with a mystery man. The drama just keeps piling up.
I don't understand how a mother could actually leave her child with that she doesn't really even know very well for 2 weeks.
It wasn't
and
2
get
weeks.
on the
It was
plane
Thursday to
and go
Tuesday
to
to Nevada,
saying she had a modeling job. Just all of a sudden, just jumps up and leaves this baby with us. We took care of the baby at that time.
I call her. I'm like, when are you coming back? Like, I have stuff to do too. I have, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, boom, she was there.
This debate is like an episode of CSI Baby Edition. Miss Lockridge presents baby photos as evidence, swearing King looks exactly like Mr. Tidwell's family. She even calls him an Ethiopian baby. Mr. Tidwell's mom isn't convinced, but all this arguing won't matter once the DNA results come in.
So here's the first picture. That is my son, King. And here is the second picture. That is Mr. Tidwell. The thing that catches me up is he looks like his side of the family.
He looks like an Ethiopian baby.
Really?
Yes, he does to me.
That's King.
And the next photo is Mr. Tidwell as a baby.
Look at the earmarks, the ear tags. There's nobody else.
Do you see a resemblance?
No.
If you placed a bet, you might want a refund.
It has been determined by this court. Mr. Tidwell, you are not his father.
This episode is wild from the start, and the drama is real. Miss Salvo is sure Mr. Gonzalez is the dad and says she was only with him, but he's like, nah, she was with my best friend too.
Claim that around the time you conceived your 1-year-old daughter, Amaya, you carried on a sexual relationship with the defendant, Mr. Gonzalez. Today you say you desperately want to prove Mr. Gonzalez is her biological father because it will break your heart if she has to grow up without a dad.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now they can't even agree on how many times they hooked up. She says once while drunk, but he says at least 6 times while engaged. Oh, and he got caught naked in her mom's kitchen, and she just said, wow.
You've only had sex with Miss Salvo 1 time?
No, Your Honor, it's more than 6 times. I started off with her mom, so we would go over, we'll drink, started kissing, we started touching on each other, we went to the room. I was thirsty.
Did you use protection?
No, ma'am. I went to get something to drink in the kitchen. I was naked, her mom saw me, her mom was like, wow. Mom didn't get mad at me or nothing.
She admits she had a boyfriend at the time and thought he was the dad, but when she saw Amaya, she thought, nope, this baby looks Hispanic. But let's be real, a dimple isn't a paternity test.
The reason we stopped with contact, because he did help me financially when I was pregnant, because at first I thought that she was his. When I looked at her, I just knew it wasn't his. My ex-boyfriend, she looks Hispanic to the fullest, yes.
It's because you felt like, and not black?
She has too much of him. She looks way too much. The dimple, she has one dimple just like he does.
Surprise, her boyfriend already took a DNA test, and he's not the dad either. Mr. Gonzalez is now convinced her best friend is the real father. Just when you think it's settling down, some scandalous pictures pop up.
Did you test your ex at all?
I did test him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, and what happened?
He's not the father.
Well, that's what your evidence is, Miss Salvo. Okay, so you had your ex tested, and it would reveal that he was excluded as a possibility.
Yes.
So now that you know her ex has been tested, are some of your doubts?
Mr. Gonzalez claims his best friend had naked pictures of Miss Salvo. He swears she was with more guys, but she denies everything. Either way, things are getting heated real fast.
I get in the car with my best friend. He's Hispanic, Puerto Rican. He tells me, I'm sorry, Julio, but I gotta show you something. I'm like, what you mean you gotta show me something? He showed me naked pictures of Ashley like this.
Really?
Yes, ma'am.
He thinks she was messing around with tons of guys. One guy at a party was mad at him because he thought he was the dad. But now, it's time to talk about who's actually been taking care of this baby.
One night, we're all hanging out next to my mama's house, partying, having fun. This Mexican guy keep looking mad at me, fight me or something. I asked Ashley, why that guy so mad at me? Why he looked like he want to fight me? Oh, because he wanted to be the baby daddy, but I told him, you're the baby daddy.
Mr. Gonzalez swears he bought diapers and a crib. Miss Salvo claps back, saying he only bought 2 toothbrushes. Her fiance says she's been paying for everything, and she's about to take the mic.
When that baby was born, diapers, baby carrier, everything.
What? A crate, a crib.
A crib?
That's a bold-faced lie. First off, he has not came out of his pocket not one single time. Oh, he bought 2 itty-bitty toothbrushes and some toothpaste for my daughter.
Her fiance, Miss Millender, says she's Amaya's real parent. She says, I feel like the daddy, but I don't even got the equipment. Now, it's time for the big reveal.
Miss Salvo says you've been there to help her with the child.
I've been there since day one, since Amaya came out.
Really?
I know, I feel like I'm the daddy, but I don't even have no equipment to be the daddy. But I am the daddy. He don't even must do nothing. I buy the diapers, I buy the wipes.
The DNA test results are in.
Mr. Gonzalez, it has been determined by this court that you are not the father.
This was one of the saddest things ever. Mrs. Watts tells the court how both of her sons were ambushed and eliminated. Just when you think things can't get worse, there's a whole other problem.
Mrs. Watts, you are here on behalf of your deceased son, Alex, who was tragically murdered just a few months ago. I'm very sorry for your loss. You stand here on his behalf because you doubt he fathered the defendant's 20-month-old son, Caden, and you have asked for a DNA test to determine the truth.
Losing her sons was bad enough. Now she has to wonder if Caden is really her grandson. She explains that Alex never fully claimed the baby, which makes her suspicious. Now she needs a DNA test to get the truth.
I was told that my son Alex had been taken to the hospital in critical condition. When I got to the hospital to see Alex, he had passed. He had died on arrival. This has been very difficult for me.
I am so very sorry. Where you have now had to live with a doubt as to whether or not this beautiful little boy, Caden, is in fact your grandchild.
Yes.
Ms. Cheryl is 100% sure Alex is the dad. She even shows a cute video of Alex and Caden together. But then, the court digs into her past statements, and things start looking sketchy.
The relationship was like a father and son bond relationship. They were like 2 peas in a pod. Alex loved Caden to death.
Yeah, because like you don't hear what I'm saying? You mad at me now? You want to annoy me? I don't care.
Mrs. Watts brings out a text where Ms. Cheryl admits she wasn't sure who the dad was. The courtroom reacts like they just saw a plot twist in a movie. And trust me, it only gets messier from here.
Alex is, and she said that she didn't know she needed a DNA test. She sent it to me in a text message.
Do you have that text message?
I do.
And you ask, question, are you pregnant by Alex? And Miss Cheryl responds, I don't really know, I don't believe so, but at this moment, I don't know, I have to get a blood test.
Caden's birth certificate doesn't even have Alex's name on it. On top of that, he doesn't even have Alex's last name. The judge and audience are side-eyeing Ms. Cheryl hard right now.
On the birth certificate, there is no father's name listed. Caden's last name is not your last name.
I gave him a friend of mine's last name only because I didn't want to give him a female's last name. When the time came for me and Alex to get a blood test, I told him we can go down to the court, and we can get his last name changed, no problem.
Alex's stepdad steps up and says Alex never mentioned Caden. He points out that Alex took a DNA test for his first daughter, but never did for Caden. The doubt just keeps growing.
If somebody got a child, they gonna say, well, this is my baby. Here, mama, look at my baby.
He never mentioned I have a baby on the way.
No, I just started seeing pictures like this. I'm like, well, he got a baby.
Alex has another daughter.
Yes.
Saying that this is my child.
Yes.
But Alex also got a blood test with his daughter also. They did get a blood test with her too.
Boom, the results are in.
It has been determined by this court. The percentage of relatedness between Ms. Lita Watts and Caden is 0.006%. You are not related.
This case was wild from the start. Mr. Jenkins says he found his long-lost daughter, but Ms. Bond is like, who is this man? The whole courtroom is already confused, and it only gets crazier.
Mr. Jenkins, you reached out to the court to open a case. You believe that you have a long-lost daughter and hope to one day find her to prove you are her father. So we've located the woman you believe is your daughter, and she's here in court today.
Imagine some random guy showing up saying he's your dad. Yep, that's Ms. Bond's life today. She shows her birth certificate like a receipt, proving his name isn't on there. Jenkins, however, isn't backing down that easily.
So this is your birth certificate?
Yes.
Under father's legal name, nothing is recorded.
Yes, Your Honor.
But you were raised by a man that you believe, you were told was your biological father.
Yes, he died in a car accident in 1999 with my mother, and I believe that that was my father.
So, Ms. Bond, ultimately, you come to court today completely in the dark.
Yes.
Jenkins pulls out an old ultrasound pic like it's a VIP pass to fatherhood land. He says he went to doctor visits and saved the photo for 24 years. Ms. Bond looks at him like he just tried to sell her a time machine.
It's an ultrasound picture that I used to go to the hospital with her.
You did. So when you found out she was pregnant,
I was excited. I said, I got my first child. I got a girl.
So this is an ultrasound picture of Ms. Bond.
Yes.
That you've saved all these years.
Over 24 years, I've been saving that picture right there.
Ms. Bond shares that she's been struggling and feels completely alone. Her story is heartbreaking, and the whole room gets quiet. Jenkins sees her pain, but she still isn't sure about him.
I felt alone. You know, I didn't have anyone to talk to. I didn't have anyone. I lost my mother and my father, and I didn't have anybody. I'm still struggling. I'm homeless. I'm trying to get my children, and I have no one on my side, and I just feel so alone. I feel like a part of me is really missing.
How many children do you have?
I have 2 sons.
There, Jenkins goes full movie dad mode and swears he's here now. He promises to love and support her, but she's still like, we'll see. The courtroom feels like a dramatic soap opera at this point.
Excuse me, Your Honor, she got me. You know, you don't have to worry about that. If I'm a man, I'm gonna step up and do what I gotta do. My job is to protect you and to love you, to show you how a man's supposed to treat you, you know.
I missed that growing up. I didn't have a father figure to tell me, you know, right from wrong. Today, I made a lot of wrong decisions because I didn't have anyone there.
Jenkins says he's been searching everywhere. Social media, phone numbers, knocking on doors. Ms. Bond is like, sir, how did you have my number and still not find me? Honestly, she's got a good point.
I used to go over one of your family members' house. I used to come over there every Christmas. I used to go there. Kept me out on the porch. Played crazy on me. Played like she didn't know who I was. I knocked on doors. I'd like to submit one more thing to the court.
I have a Facebook page. If you went for social media, you could have found me.
I did everything I could do. I've been looking for you over 24 years. That's one of your numbers that I have.
Jenkins says he lost touch again after her mom died, and the search restarted. Ms. Bond basically tells him, that's sad and all, but you could have tried harder. She's not wrong, and the tension is real.
I talked to her on the phone, and she said, in the next week or so, I'll let you see Andrea. I said, how she's doing? She's doing pretty good. A week later, I called her back at that number. Heard some bad news that she was in a bad car accident. Here we go again. Now it's starting all over again.
She got killed in the car accident. You could have came to the funeral. Still don't feel like you're my father. I'm sorry.
Judge Lake explains that since Jenkins isn't on the birth certificate, he had no legal rights to see her. So even if he wanted to, he couldn't just pop up like, surprise, I'm your dad. Now, it's time for the DNA test.
When you submitted your birth certificate to the court and under father, there was no name listed, because he was not listed, he doesn't have any rights to see you or to stake any claim to visit you, anything.
The room holds its breath as Judge Lake opens the envelope.
It has been determined by this court, Mr. Jenkins, you are her father.